What I do think, Wendy, is that I'm so glad that you're on the job. Number one, this demonstrates the importance of having independent media part of all execution processes.
Time is running out for condemned killer Ralph Menzies, his execution date just weeks away. A 2 News investigation uncovered what amounts to a serious conflict by at least one recently selected pro tem parole board member, one of 5 who decide whether a death row inmate gets a chance at clemency or if he will be put to death. Chief investigative reporter Wendy Holleran found a flaw that calls into question the overall credibility of a system that has the power to commute a death sentence. Wendy.
Well, Jim, while reporting on Menzies' petition to the Utah Board of Pardons and Parole asking for a commutation hearing, I discovered a pro tem parole board member who would have had a vote in actuality represented Menzies before he was convicted of murdering Maureen Hunsaker. Which begs the question, how could board administrators not even know about this? And what would have happened if I didn't find this? Public defenders for Ralph Menzies in their petition for commutation claim the reality of what will happen if he's executed is jarring. Officers will have to remove the oxygen tubes from his nose, requiring multiple people to help him into the execution chamber and onto the chair. And then the state of Utah will train 5 high-velocity rifles on the body of a frail, elderly man who is already fading. His execution will serve no purpose but to turn the inevitability of death into a needless display of violence.
Just imagining what the state of Utah is hoping to do to him as he goes through this process, it's just inhumane.
Menzies will either live or die by the state.
This process has to be fair. It has to be unbiased. It has to be straightforward. Otherwise, it's not going to operate as the failsafe we want it to be.
Knowing board chair Scott Stevenson resigned in June, I asked who would replace him.
Great question. Mr. Menzies' case, we have one recusal of a board member.
That's Dan Bakavoy. He's had involvement in Menzies' case, leaving 3 members because of Stevenson's departure. Board Administrator Jennifer Yim announced 2 pro tempore members who will replace them.
Are Bradley Rich and Bob Yates.
My investigation found in 1978 Menzies robbed a taxi driver at gunpoint. The taxi driver tried to grab the gun. It went off, severely injuring his arm. A jury convicted Menzies of aggravated robbery. Menzies appealed his conviction to the Utah Supreme Court. Take a close look. Brad Rich was his attorney. This is Rich's 20-page appellate brief, and he is the only attorney listed for Menzies when he was with the Salt Lake Legal Defender Association. And that wasn't the only time Rich served as Menzies' lawyer. Rich filed an appeal to the Utah Supreme Court after Menzies was additionally convicted of escape from the Utah State Prison. The board's administrative rule says if a board member pro tem served as a lawyer in any previous matter with the offender, they may be recused, and that they have to declare the conflict. I notified the board of my findings and received this voicemail message.
The same Brad Rich, who is a pro tem, he does not actually remember that case from '79. It was more of a pro forma thing. But out of an abundance of caution, we're reaching out to our 2 other pro tems to replace him on that board that'll evaluate both the petition and the response, just to make sure that there's no, visuals of any conflict. And again, thanks for giving us the heads up on that.
Robin Marr is the executive director of the Death Penalty Information Center.
Creates concerns that there are things that are happening that shouldn't be happening.
I requested an on-camera interview, laid out the facts, and asked questions.
The extreme secrecy surrounding so much of the death penalty and the refusal of government officials to answer questions is so very troubling.
16 hours later, I received this email. Given the public's interest in this case, the board will be sending this press release out shortly. It should address your questions. We wanted to make sure you saw it first. It confirms no one in the board's administration is conducting conflict checks. They rely on members to disclose their own conflicts of interest and hope they remember. It says Mr. Rich has no recollection of working on either case and does not believe he ever met Menzies. Given this situation, the board will be reevaluating this process to determine if additional steps can be taken to enhance its due diligence procedures. Brad Rich has been replaced with pro tem board member Nathan Evershed. The board emphasizes that this change was made before any decisions were made relating to the petition for commutation by Menzies. Now, the failure of the state to recognize its own shortfall in this case could have proven legally disastrous. I provided this information to Menzies public defenders on Thursday. The board's administration says, quote, "This information has been provided to both legal teams and is being provided to the public in an effort to maintain full transparency throughout the process." Jim?